What's up, guys? It's XX King Slayer 387XX back with another one. Today, we will explain Crusades lore and how it relates to FNAF.
Alright, let's take it back. Europe 10XX. Topic 1. Geography. Now, what was Europe's geography like?
Europe is a continent located in the northern and eastern hemisphere.
Europe had many mountains and mountain ranges. It also had many rivers such as the Seine River, Po River, Rhine River, Danube River, and Volga River. A lot of rivers. Some common trees in Europe at the time were oak, ash, and beech trees. Important crops people grew were wheat and barley. Europe had a very warm climate. Temperatures might even be warmer than the present.
Topic 2. Economy.
Insert cash or select payment type. Use PinPad to complete transaction. Thank you for shopping at Walmart.
Feudalism was formed at the late stages or end of the Roman Empire. Those who lived in the Roman Empire or other nations that dissolved had nowhere to go. So lords would make them sign a feudal contract, which would force the peasants to do services such as farming or military. What was feudalism's impact on the economy of Europe? Feudalism was actually an impediment to the economy. Overall, feudalism's impact on the economy in Europe was mostly just inequality, limited mobility for peasants and serfs, and a lack of economic practices standardized at the time. Contrary to feudalism, the physical geography of manors gave them wealth from an abundance of resources. Using these, manors developed an economic powerhouse for the global market. Feudalism provided a foundation for political order by laying the foundation for a decentralized version of political power. This means that instead of one big power ruling all, it is spread to many different political offices. Topic 3. Politics. What was the Magna Carta? The Magna Carta was a document that ensured that the king and his government will not be above the law in any circumstances. The document was written to prevent the king from exploiting his power and establish limits of royal authority by making law a power above all. The Magna Carta was meant to be a peace treaty between King John and the barons. It failed at doing so, making the two sides go to war with each other within 3 months of the document being signed. One of the most lasting effects of the Magna Carta was protection of illegal imprisonment of those who owned land. The Magna Carta affected how the United States was formed too. You know that thing that I just said about the illegal imprisonment? You know the protection of illegal imprisonment of those who own land. Well, that law and many others in the Magna Carta are used in the United States today. Those who wrote the Declaration of Independence based it off the Magna Carta as well. Topic 4. Religion.
Son, have you been reading heresy recently? Unacceptable.
What caused the Crusades to occur? The Crusades were caused by the expansion of Islam. Their goal was to stop the expansion of Muslim states, reclaim the Holy Land, Jerusalem, and recapture territories that were previously owned by Christianity. There were 8 major crusades and presumably several smaller ones with about no impact. The crusades occurred between 1096 and 1291, and each had a large impact on the future. Get ready, this might be a long one. The First Crusade. This crusade was launched to recover the Holy Land from Islamic rule. The First Crusade is considered to be the most successful crusade out of all of them because of the fact that the Christians or Crusaders captured Jerusalem. The Second Crusade. The Second Crusade was launched to recapture the country of Edessa. This crusade was a failure for the Crusaders and a victory for the Muslims. It would ultimately have an influence on the fall of Jerusalem and lead to the Third Crusade at the end of the 12th century. The Third Crusade. The Third Crusade was launched for the purpose of recapturing Jerusalem after its fall to the Muslim leader Saladin. Unlike the past two crusades, the Third Crusade had no winner but still gave a slight advantage to the Muslims. This crusade ended in a treaty that gave the Muslims ownership of Jerusalem, but Christians were still allowed to access it for trading and pilgrimage. The Fourth Crusade. The Fourth Crusade was launched because the Crusaders wanted to retake Jerusalem from its current Muslim overlords. It resulted in irrevocable damage to the Byzantine Empire, contributing to its decline and fall as the empire's unstable governments, the sack of Constantinople, and the thousands of deaths depleted the Byzantine Empire of resources, soldiers, and money, which left the empire as a vulnerable target. The Fifth Crusade. The Fifth Crusade was the same as most of the other crusades, recapturing Jerusalem from the Muslims, only this time the strategy was to weaken the enemy by first attacking Muslim-owned cities in North Africa and Egypt. This crusade ended in a loss for the Crusaders because of all soldiers either dying or being kidnapped. Those who were kidnapped were captured by the Sultan, who demanded the immediate return of Damietta. The Crusaders had no choice but to give it to them. The Sixth Crusade. The Sixth Crusade, once again, was a military expedition to retake Jerusalem and the rest of the Holy Land from the Muslims. This crusade involved very little fighting. It ended with the Treaty of Jaffa, stating how the Holy Land should be restored and acknowledging the Christians' ownership of Acre, Jaffa, Nazareth, Sidon, and Toron. It also ended with the Crusaders' victory. The Seventh Crusade. The Seventh Crusade was launched to reclaim the Holy Land by attacking Egypt. It ended in a defeat for the Crusaders, with most of the army, including the king, getting captured by the Muslims. The Eighth Crusade. The last crusade was the Eighth Crusade. The Eighth Crusade was similar to the Seventh Crusade, whereas previously, the idea to defeat the Muslims first in Egypt, then either retake or negotiate control of key Christian sites in the Levant, including Jerusalem. Crusaders helped both to militarize the Western Church and to sustain militarization. It helped solidify the Pope's control over the Church. Muslims got fewer benefits from the Crusades than Christians. Muslims succeeded in pushing the Crusaders away from the Middle East, but they lost their lands on the Iberian Peninsula. The contact between cultures also benefited Muslims less than the Christians. Millions of Jews were wrongfully murdered. The Crusaders aimed to completely eliminate Judaism by either converting them to Christianity or killing them. Topic 5. Social structure. How did the Church gain power in medieval Europe? The Church gained power by becoming the only institute that people could depend on after the fall of the Roman Empire. People depended on the Church for shelter, food, and protection. The Church gained power also because of their immense wealth due to tithes. Peasants had to pay a church tax called a tithe, which only made the Church richer. Monasteries were an important part of medieval Europe. They provided a place for solitude, brotherhood, prayer, and discipline, and removal from temptation of sins. They also provided education and served as an archive of ancient literature. Universities were a natural expression of Christian understanding. This is why the Church helped establish universities, as they would like Christians to have a better connection with God. But how exactly did they fund these universities? They used their wealth and resources to build and fund medieval universities.
Topic 6. The Black Death.
Oh no! Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Is it here? No. Not here.
What effects did the Black Death have on medieval regions? Many peasants and serfs died, leading to labor shortages. Many nobles also died, weakening the structure of feudalism. People lost faith in the Catholic Church as they believed that God would not answer their cries. Jews were murdered for rumors saying that they caused the plague. Short-term effects were people dying left and right by the plague. Long-term effects were half of the population dying, causing governments to go into panic. The Black Plague lasted around 1346 to 1353. The plague first spread throughout Asia and arrived on merchant ships on the Silk Road to the Mediterranean and North Africa. It then reached southern England in 1348 and northern Britain and Scandinavia by 1350.
Scary, I wonder all this took so